Welcome to Facebook for the Blind, your look at the downfall of Western civilization through the best memes we can find each week.
Hey, this is Facebook for the Blind for Friday, August 28th, 2020. And just to give you a few news headlines to get your place in time, since the pandemic has distorted all temporal reality. During this pandemic, when about 1,000 Americans a day are dying, we just struck a milestone of 181,000 confirmed COVID deaths. In the south lawn of the White House, chairs were just inches apart. Protective masks were not required. COVID-19 tests were not administered to everyone. And the president defied his own administration's coronavirus guidelines to speak for more than an hour about what a rosy picture America is today. Also, Kenosha, Wisconsin is in the news. Jacob Blake was shot in the back 7 times by Kenosha police. This coincides with a march on Washington, D.C. right now. And also in Kenosha, Kyle Rittenhouse, the alleged shooter charged with murder of firing at protesters, had his hearing in Waukegan, Illinois, where the judge delayed his extradition to Wisconsin to give him time to hire a legal team. And you should see the legal teams that have already signed on. Weakened but dangerous Laura, the Category 4 hurricane, entered the United States between the Louisiana and Texas border with one of the strongest hurricanes ever to strike the U.S. 150-mile-per-hour winds. It's destroyed buildings, toppled trees, killed at least 6 people the last time I checked, and it is continuing as a tropical depression into the United States. So there's potentially more tornadoes and awful weather to come. So that's where we're at in time. And I'm Eric.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Michael.
I'm George.
And I think we're kicking off with Tyler. What's new in the world of your online social media?
Well, my choice is always Reddit. I just want to share some things here with you. First, we got a little video here. It says your chances of getting murdered by a mouse are low, but never zero. And you're looking at like a mini fridge and some junk. There's a little mouse that runs by it. It's literally holding onto a knife.
Oh,
Then it runs back.
Oh, that's
man. Have you seen that video of the crab with a knife?
Mm-hmm.
I think I have. Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, man. Yeah, you got to watch out for animals with knives.
Dude, armed animals are the best.
So here's a tweet on the subreddit called White People Twitter. And the tweet says, I thought I liked seeing movies, but turns out I like eating candy in a dark room where it's illegal to talk to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is a subreddit called Cursed Comments. There's a post that says, it shows a bunch of cigarette butts with like plants coming out of them.
Wow.
And it says biodegradable cigarette filters with flower seeds. And then somebody commented, help nature in 2 ways, by planting trees and killing yourself.
Love it.
2 in 1. If I got the 2 in 1, that's great.
Right. And here's another tweet that was on Reddit. It says, shit, I have a therapy meeting in 20 minutes and I haven't practiced my lines.
That's good.
This is a little more serious. This is a picture of a tornado aftermath.
Oh.
Where it shows a giant piece of wood. I don't know how long, maybe we'll say probably at least 6 feet long. And it's literally just piercing through probably about 4 inches of cement.
That's insane.
That just shows you how destructive like 150-mile-per-hour winds can be.
Yeah. Wow. I know that's serious, but that just reminds me of the King of the Hill where Dale is just like, an F5 will send an egg through a brick wall. Just like, the soft will be blasted through the hard.
Yeah.
Basically.
And I guess ending on a more serious note, this is on the subreddit called Bad Cop No Donut.
I love that subreddit.
I do too. The title says, imagine being so scared you can't approach someone without your gun in hand. And here we have a picture of a white police officer pulling over a younger black man in a newer looking vehicle, and he's got his hand like on his gun while the black man gets his papers ready, and it's kind of has like a blurb right above it. It says, "This brother is getting his license, registration, and insurance papers ready to hand to the cop in broad daylight. And look what the cop already has his hand on, out the holster. If you are this scared, find a new job. We are all this close to being a hashtag."
I fully agree with that. It's, there's implied danger in the job, and what you're supposed to do is uphold the law as a representative of, in theory, as a representative of, maintaining the peace. It's to protect and serve. And I haven't seen, that's wild that how long it's been since I even fucking heard that phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the military for 8 years, and our escalation of force was so, like, our rules of engagement were so explicit that I had it. Being afraid was not justification for shooting someone. Are you kidding me? I woke up afraid. Like, I was in a war zone. Like, being scared is not justification for killing someone. What I had to do was I had to actually, like, assess how they have attacked me. And once they have attacked me, like, then I can retaliate. But there was never this, like, just rolling up on people ready to shoot them because they scare me with the way that they look or talk. It's stupid.
No, and you know why? Because that probably would have happened even with the rules in place, but there's consequences. You get court-martialed for that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing.
I don't care how much your command loves you. Like,
it's not that, the military is inherently more, the people there are more moral than police. It's nothing like that. It's that there are actual consequences for the fucking actions.
The policies, man. That's what drives all this stuff. Like,
not to say that I'm fully in support of the military and what they do either, but I mean, at least they can keep their fucking house in order.
Me neither. Right? Like, but they've been at it a very, very long time. And
rules of engagement, and they mostly stick to them.
Yeah, Geneva. So I mean, I think that this is a good point, right? Is that it's not governed by the United States Army. It's like the United States Army in this regard is governed by Geneva, and that makes a huge, huge, huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
I have paraphrased you several times, Michael, whenever people come out with the very, benefit of the doubt for the police. And I'm like, it's interesting. My veteran friends often comment that due to their training, they never have a question of when use of force is authorized against unarmed civilians.
No question.
It never comes up. I was like, I would like at least that level of training. Is that too much to ask?
Right. It is too much to ask, given what their aims are with law enforcement. So if their aims were the same as mine, then of course it wouldn't be too much to ask. But they're not looking for what we're looking for. They're looking for something else entirely. And that's, that whitest kids sketch where it's like, oh yeah, and keep the poor, like,
to protect, serve, and to control the poor.
And to control the poor. That's it.
That was one of. Yeah, join the police force, and they're just like the whole sketch, just firing guns, just
whatever they're doing, they're shooting missiles in the air. All right, am I up next?
Yes.
All right, I'm Michael. I am a graduate of Vanderbilt Divinity School. I'm an interfaith chaplain, and always here to talk about religion. Specifically, I'm always here to talk about heresy. So, I actually think. I think that there's a lot of ways that we can look at, like, religion. One thing that I want to be really careful about is, I am a person who my religion is technically Christian anarchy, but that's not to say that I can't just sit here and be like, oh, my religion isn't complicit with all of the horrible, awful things that have happened in the world when it is, right? Christianity has a long, bloody history. So, what I'm about to say next, I understand this is kind of like an intra-family fight. So I'm actually going to start with a meme that that came up on my timeline from, I guess I posted it like last year or a couple of years ago. Yeah, last year. And this is a picture of Saint Polycarp of Smyrna. And it says, "If you think I will swear by Caesar, you do not know me. Hear me clearly. I am a Christian." This is the reason that I want to point this out, is because what is being stated here, like what Saint Polycarp is showing, is this dichotomy. One cannot swear by Caesar, or in another way to say that would be to swear allegiance to the president, or to pledge allegiance to the flag, right? To be patriot, to be a nationalist. One cannot do that and be Christian. That's just, those two things are incompatible. Now, I said that to say this: what happened at the Republican National Committee convention with Vice President Biden is
Vice President
something.
Pence.
I'm sorry, yes, Vice President Pence, not Biden. Biden's got his own problems, but he is remarkably better than this. So this is a picture of a tweet, actually, and this floated around Facebook. I just shared it recently. And it says, it's from Vernon Pierre at Pastor VP, is the originator of this. He says, "Please don't ever do that again, Mr. Vice President." And what he did was he put Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 2, right next to a section of Vice President Pence's speech from August 26, 2020. And then in red strike through, he showed where Pence simply added text to Scripture. He inserted these texts into Scripture. And what he inserted into these Scriptures is Old Glory and all she represents, so that it says, "So then let's run the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on," and then instead of fix our eyes on, I forget, but on Jesus, faith's pioneer and perfecter, it says, "Fix our eyes on Old Glory and all she represents. Let us fix our eyes on," and then insert it again, "this land of heroes, and let their courage inspire." He added later, "and our freedom, and never forget that. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." And then he inserts again, "That means freedom always wins." This is not like extra canonical ideas. These are simply nationalistic ideas that are being put forth by the Vice President of the United States, presented not just in like biblical speech, which a lot of presidents like to do, right? They kind of talk in ways that sound like Scripture. He actually took Scripture and inserted nationalism directly into it. This is not new. This is a heresy that has been around for a long time. The Herodians are one of Jesus's like major opponents in the public sphere. This is a long fight. This fight belongs to Christianity. It's one that we've always had. And Constantine, huge win for the side of Caesar, right? For the religion of dominant power. But watching this unfold, watching this vice president who is so heavily supported by evangelical Christians who make up the base of the right-wing party now, watching them just like get down on one knee for this guy, it is killing me inside. So I've been in all these fights. One of the things I wrote was they wrote a list of like these evangelical leaders came out who were all at Trump's speech at the White House, which was actually way against the law, not for them to be there, but for him to make that speech at the White House.
Yeah.
And all their names were listed, and I retweeted it on Twitter, obviously, and I said, "Not listed, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego." Like the story from the Old Testament of the three Israelites who would not bend the knee to the graven image of the national leader, right? This is it's playing out in front of us again. It's happened before. It's gonna happen again, but this is something that at the crux of the religion of Christianity, it simply cannot be nationalistic. It's oxymoron. Christian nationalism is an oxymoron. So the last thing that I want to tag on here is all over Facebook is this kid who I don't even want to say his name, who's 17-year-old kid who goes up to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and just starts hunting protesters.
Whose mother drives him. Whose mother drives him in his gun.
His mother drove him from Illinois, where we're at right now, into Wisconsin, across state lines, with this semi-automatic weapon, and he ends up shooting 3 people, killing 2 of them. Now, that's upsetting all by itself. But Tucker Carlson of Fox News comes out and says, like, are we really mad at this kid for standing up for law and order when nobody else would? Like, making a hero of this 17-year-old murderer.
He was part of a whole militia that was there, and the cops were thanking them. And
yes,
so
shaking hands, high-fiving.
Upholding, just what a load of shit.
They gave him water. The cops were like handing out water there. And by the way, militias, they're gangs, George. Like these are just gangs. Like they're gangs. Like just because it's all white people, we always call them militias.
Yeah, you can't just call them gang thugs because that's what they fucking are.
That's what they are. And so again, one of the most
militia. We're constitutionalists and we're fucking no, you're a fucking gang.
Right, you're a gang. The thing that's been so upsetting is watching not just I don't just want to say like evangelical Christians on my feed. These are evangelical pastors of churches who are saying that young man was doing something righteous by defending property. The thing that I'm going to stop, that I'll stop ranting on here, but the thing that I can't get away from is that Christianity spread across from region to region, primarily through martyrdom, primarily because Christians, unlike everybody else at the time, Christians were willing to die for what they believed in. And whenever Christianity moves from being willing to die for what you believe in to being willing to kill for what you believe in, that's officially when it's jumped the shark. Like that is automatically when you can no longer say that you're being like Christ. If Christ had been like, I'm the Son of God and then gone on a killing spree, then fine. But that's not the story, is it? Christ says, I'm the Son of God, and then he gets executed by the state. So the whole thing here, the whole idea that supporting or upholding murderers like this in the name of Christ can even exist is an absolute scourge. It is an absolute abomination to the legacy of the story of Jesus.
I will say this an issue that I've noticed with pretty much every religion that I've looked into in the actual text and philosophy of it. There's always like a great, usually very solid and peaceful message underlying most religion. And then, but the nature of the popularity of it and the power that it could, that's usually where it gets sort of twisted, is that people will always just go after, abusing religion for money and power. And that's where, that's why all the televangelists, all the evangelists with the prosperity gospel, obviously those people are on the side of the fascists who are trying to use it to up their own power, because that they understand that they're speaking the same language.
Mm-hmm.
Money is power and power is money.
I think
and people don't talk about that enough.
I think it's so interesting you guys are taking it more into the religious tact, but I mean, primarily what I saw today was this cartoon, this was the thing that was going around the most, was that, what police consider threatening and non-threatening.
The racism at the heart of it all, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I commented many times, just I'm sorry, but a person's back, I watched a lot of Kung Fu theater, and they have like the touch of death and all kinds of crazy moves. Never in my life have I seen somebody in a Kung Fu movie kill somebody else with their back.
No.
Man, that is so yellow. To shoot somebody in the back.
Yep, it is.
You'd think that'd be in the use of force training.
A good way to lose your job if you're a soldier.
It's just such a universally known thing it's just such a scumbag move to shoot somebody in the back, and they did it 7 times, and half the country is defending them. It's just like before that. Sorry, I had a phone call that it was restricted, so I didn't trust it. But you could have asked anybody around anywhere, just like, yo, do you think somebody should get shot in the back ever? Do you think it's ever acceptable? No. No.
Dude, watch a Western. Like any Western. The second a sheriff shoots somebody in the back is the second that you find that you realize that sheriff is the villain of the movie, and a cowboy's coming in. Like that is always like it is a universally wrong thing to do. Yeah.
No.
This reminded me of that Bill Hicks bit on Jack Palance in Shane. You remember that? He's like, oh, come on, Sheriff, you wouldn't shoot an unarmed man, would you? He throws the gun at his feet and he goes, pick up the gun. You don't know this bit? Oh,
no. Oh yeah, no, that's a old Bill Hicks joke.
Classic.
That's what
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. They'll I mean, listen, the way we always understood it growing up was like you're never unarmed if you get shot by the cops because they arm you afterward.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was an interesting tweet that went, or well, it was on Twitter and it was on Facebook today, was, you know, people saying, I keep a knife in my car, or I keep a knife in my pocket. And it's like, and that's not a good reason to be shot.
No.
Right. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. It was like retweet if you have a knife in your car. And there were just like a million retweets because we all do, of course. We
all do. And the thing that killed me was like twice as many of the respondents were women.
Yeah, of course. George, what you got, man?
Wait, I do want to follow. My one lesson from that was from Kenosha. I think I shouldn't keep a knife in my car. I should keep a long gun. You know, it's safer.
Unfortunately, the reality is all three of us are white, and so it wouldn't matter if we had a nuclear warhead in our car. We wouldn't be in as much danger as that father was.
Well, not me. You two are hippie freaks. You're getting shot for sure.
Hurry up and mess up my mohawk. I go, no, it's just curly hair on top.
Give me just a moment.
I keep a clip-on tie in the glove box for just such occasions.
Very smart. I need to get one of those fraternal order of police stickers.
Oh,
on the back of my car.
I knew my car was missing something. That's what I need. You know, I had a scooter one time and I found this wonderful bumper sticker, and it was really tiny. But it just had I Heart Cops that fit right in the middle.
Yeah.
I had a lot of conversations with cops about that. They liked it.
There's one. It's fascist logic. Destroying property to stop murder is wrong, but murdering to protect property is right.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's a lot of there's so many people that are going for that angle. That they're looting, the windows are getting smashed, we gotta kill them. It's
before
frustrating.
Here in Champaign we've got people protesting graffiti and chalk.
Oh yeah. Oh, people mad about that, big mad.
Yeah, I have friends in Tennessee who are looking at felony charges of vandalism for writing in chalk on the sidewalk.
Good Lord.
You know, I remember as children, we used to like vacation summer times, you know, up at this lake in Michigan. And all the kids, we got out our chalk and we went to town on the motel sidewalk. And then the owner came out and just yelled at all the kids, like grumpy people do at kids, you probably remember. And then my mother and the other kid's mother, they were very concerned. And I don't know where she came up with. She had little plastic tubs and extra toothbrushes, and I was like, it's chalk. And I took a glass of water and just went sploosh. And you should have seen this woman that was so sorry that we hadn't abided by the rules, going, are you kidding? Seriously? A cup of water. Like no brushing at all, just water.
Yeah, rain will take care of it.
Anything. Squirt gun. She was aghast when she figured out like how overblown this woman's it was.
Oh, but the mental gymnastics are just always like, sorry, I'm looking for something, but you can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but the mental gymnastics are just like, I said that once. I was just like, it's chalk. It just washes off. And somebody's just like, well, if you spray it with hairspray, then it becomes permanent. And I'm just like, if that's true, that's awesome. And if I
Not
feel like if it was, people would do it way, way more often.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what the meme you shared though, or the tweet you shared, like that is like at the heart of this. I was in this argument today online with more Christians who are defending people's right to kill. They were specifically defending this kid for killing people. They said like he was defending property. He was defending these small businesses. He was defending wealth, really, right?
Yeah.
You know the
But
question I kept
notion
posing.
that you can kill in order to protect property is bonkers.
Well, not just that, but I just posted too. I was like, does Wisconsin have stand somebody else's ground laws? Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
nah, it's funny when you
Protecting them.
say what?
Protecting the target. I said he was protecting the target. He was protecting the CBS.
Gotta protect the target. Hold up.
There would be no Target stores if there weren't these gang members standing outside of them with their AR-15s.
I am having trouble with this. Hold on.
Well, when you guys are talking about graffiti or destruction of property or whatever, I mean, you've seen this. It's tribalism, and any tiny minor symbolic infraction, that's caused by your enemy tribe can be blown out of proportion. And it's this crazy thing. My favorite quote is Jon Stewart. He says, "A lot of what the right does, and maybe it is their greatest genius, is they've created a code of conduct that they police, but that they themselves don't have to in any way abide."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my God, how many people have you said that's disrespectful of the president? And you're like, yeah. It's like, I don't think you guys ever get to say that ever again.
No.
Not after Obama.
Well, disrespectful. I mean, we just talked about it. He just violated his own health guidelines to have a illegal talk in the Rose Garden.
Yeah.
And breach the Hatch Act.
And speaking of them, they always love playing up the or even if they don't directly address it, they say the exact same shit as QAnon. It's frustrating to see that. And interestingly enough, the guy got doxxed recently. The person who made it, it's the same person who runs 8chan. Just fucking surprise. Anyway,
what's that guy's name? Jim Watkins.
Yeah, this meme is just QAnon guy, or it's a tweet, I guess, from @MNateShyamalan. And it says, QAnon guy, the rich are corrupt. Me, yeah. QAnon guy, and above the law. Me, deaf. QAnon guy, they're satanic cultists stealing kids to drink their adrenal glands and gain supernatural powers, but Trump teamed up with JFK Jr.'s ghost to send them to Guantanamo Bay. Me, okay, you made it weird. I swear I've been on conspiracies, and I don't put the U.S. government above like anything, but the weird sort of conspiracies that veer into and what's most frightening about this to me is that the weird conspiracies that QAnon flirts with, sort of the Illuminati, like the blood drinking and sacrifice and shit like that, that always ties its way back into anti-Semitism.
Every time.
Every single time. You can just set your watch by it.
Now,
right.
One thing
it's fucking infuriating, because it's just like, oh my God, this is the shadowy group of people that controls everything, and it's just like, yeah, they're called capitalists. I've seen that meme around. That was the same. They're called capitalists. It's not a big fucking secret. They Bezos just became the first $200 billion man. Just imagine. Because human brains can't really comprehend what 200 billion is. If there were 200 billion blades of grass in my yard, I would just be a green screen to you right now. Like, it just wouldn't even.
The thing that gets me, I watched a couple minutes of that Georgia. It was a Georgia politician who's a QAnon person who's definitely going to be in the House of Representatives, who's posting all kinds of QAnon stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, the thing is, I listened to a little bit of what she was talking about, and and I realized it was, she was talking about, like, you know, that there's this cult that sacrifices to the demon Moloch, right? And Moloch is this ancient demon that wants you to sacrifice children, you know, to improve your wealth and prosperity. So, you know, sending kids into harm's way for the economy, sort of. And like completely oblivious.
That's really interesting.
Well, the other thing that gets me now, you said that it always ties back into anti-Semitism, but it has been reminding me of the satanic panic of the 1980s. I don't know if you, I mean, but there was fear of
I know,
death.
Satanic Panic, super cool heavy metal band name. Go on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there wasn't one called Satanic Panic. That would have been a great fucking band name, because then every time people were talking about it on the news, like the fans of the band would be like, "Oh, sick."
Yeah, I think what happened was that they were punk pop, but they were just too early. They were too poppy and not punk enough. Just a theory.
It is a band. It's already a band. Satanic Panic.
Fair enough.
But anyway, I did a quick follow-up on it. I hadn't realized that it actually started in Canada in the 80s. It raged into the 90s. And there are a ton of people who are still in prison for this, despite the fact that from some 12,000 different investigations across, you know, the world, no evidence of any satanic conspiracy was ever found. And I remember at least one daycare center where, you know, the kids were coached into talking about secret tunnels and all this stuff, and they dug it up, and there's no tunnels. I mean, it's another, you know, Comet Pizza has no basement. But there's going to be people that are going to see this video who are going to say, yeah, but they filled it in. Those guys, they filled it in with dirt. You know, like there's always some way you can rationalize it. But there's no evidence. I mean, 12,000. I mean, it was a huge thing. I remember it. There's people in prison today. Yeah. Yep.
Searcher.
What I want to be true.
Yep. Exactly. Just put that right into YouTube, what you want to be true, and you're a researcher.
Yep.
Michael, I keep thinking about what you said all the time. You just want to head off those threads with, you know, all right, just post your YouTube link. You know you want to. Just post your YouTube link.
I love it because they're just like, do your research, and it's just like, no, I'm not going to go on YouTube and look up whatever you looked up. Send me the YouTube link so I know that you're a joke.
Right. This is just Satanic Panic's logo, and I thought you guys should see it.
Nice.
All right, boys. Well, I think we wrapped the day pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Seems like a good one.
There we go.
Pretty decently.
Facebook for the
Talked about
blind
some stuff.
and the meme challenged. News of the
All right,
compelling and interesting.
I'm gonna go cook some supper. Feed this family before they turn into gremlins. Love you,
That's
George.
probably a good idea. Yo, love you too, Michael. Love you, Eric. Take it easy, y'all.
Love you, Michael. Love you, Tyler, wherever you are.
Oh, love you, Tyler. Way off in the distance. They're long gone by now.
Thanks for listening to an episode of Facebook for the Blind. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.